You with the one and only boxing guru. Hours before the Errol Spence Danny Garcia mega fight. It's about to go down. I'm excited about this one. Even though my mind is telling me no, but my boxing logic is telling me yes, like my boy R. Kelly would say. Because this is Danny's last and final attempt to stay at the top of the welterweight division. The fat lady is about to blow. Cause one of these boys gonna fall for sure. They ain't gonna be at the top no more. Cause I'm looking forward to this to see how it goes. So, in my opinion, I want to give a breakdown of the fight and my predictions. First of all, I'm sick and tired of seeing fights have the hypeness, the excitement behind it, and then it lets us down. This year in the boxing industry has been crazy with this COVID, and then some of these so-called mega fights like Lomachenko versus Telefimo. That was horrible from a real boxing expert's standpoint. You blow 6 rounds and it's only 12 rounds, so you know you can't win the fight. Another one of top-ranked pranks. Then you had Bud Crawford claiming he's the pound-for-pound best, fighting has-beens with nothing left. So, you know, and they hollering about he's the best. So, you know, boxing's been kind of a letdown on a high standard. But one thing for sure, my love for boxing is unconditional. Even though she come with fake fights, when we finally get a real fight, the judges can't get the scorecards right. So I'm still looking forward to this fight tonight, but on the high expectation of it being a great fight, like a Marvelous Hager against Roberto Duran, because both of their styles is kind of similar. Errol Spence and Danny Garcia. It kind of reminds me of that. So I'm looking for that type of electrifying atmosphere and to bring that out in Dallas, because this is major for boxing and we need this. We need this more than those YouTube fighters who Mike Tyson said they brought boxing back or they keeping boxing alive. I disagree totally. That's how they messed up the sport that became the sport I love, the sport I grew up on watching. You need YouTubers who don't know jack about boxing to hold it up. So that shows you how far the game done slipped down. So it's amazing. But if Danny and Earl do what they supposed to do tonight, them YouTubers won't even be on our scorecards or nothing like that, because we won't need them. Because real fighters gonna sell the fight anyway, because they gonna fight for real. And I want to be able to see them fight on the level as elite fighters. Danny is a unified champ at 140, even though he lost to Keith Thurman and Sean Porter, he's still an excellent fighter. And Danny got to use the mechanics and the art of boxing against Errol Spence to make it an intriguing fight and a winnable fight for itself. He got to know how to give angles. He gonna know how to throw his punches. He gonna have to select the right punches, and he gonna have to do things that people not accustomed to seeing Danny do. A lot of people say Danny Garcia is slow, methodical. But tonight he has to be aggressive. He has to be working on that slow output that he puts out, because the whole world is going to be watching him and Errol Spence to see who's going to fall from the welterweight division. So it's very important that if Danny really want to win this fight and not stage it, he has to come out aggressive and chin check Errol Spence to make sure Errol want to be in that ring again. He got to make Earl think about last year when he had that setback with that accident. He got to have him having second thoughts, second guessing himself. So it's very important that Danny Garcia must use every technique of the art of boxing to make it a successful night for him. So in my opinion, how it's going to go down, Danny Garcia has to come out as Earl establishes his jab and his length, because Earl is the naturally bigger guy. Errol has a 72.5-inch reach. So I'm looking for Errol to fight smart after his post-car accident. I'm glad Errol Spence is back because Errol Spence is a nice guy, a nice ambassador for the sport of boxing. So I'm glad he's back to do what he loves. And I wish him success tonight, but I just want to see a good fight. That's all I wish for at Christmas is a good fight. Not a club fight or a tough man fight. I want to see a high-level elite fight between two top boxers. So it's very critical. I'm not asking for much tonight from the boxing gods and Danny Garcia. I think Danny Garcia holds this in his own because this could be it for Danny. Danny done reached the age now where fighters fall off a cliff. The age of 32 years old. Either you're going to do it now or you ain't going to never do it. So that's why this fight is very important to see and watch tonight, to see if this is the end, because the fighter never knows when the end is coming. Even though they've been speculating this with Danny for a long time. His dad was saying they needed to retire after the Thurman and Sean Porter fight because they was getting raw deals. But they get a chance tonight to redeem themselves, to try to make it happen, and to see if they're going to make it happen. Or should Danny continue to do a career where it's not good for him and could be healthy, not healthy for him either. So it's very critical that Danny must have to focus in on this fight because this is an opportunity, in my opinion, that Danny can pull this off. He just got to follow the art of boxing against a southpaw. He has to be aggressive. He has to shoot that right hand, not straight, but he has to, like, wing it. I call it like a whip. He got to whip the right hand. He got to come at an angle like I'm turning right here, so that right hand, so when Errol try to slide up under him to get to his body, Danny could be able to wing that, whip that right hand to him, and then come back with his looping left hook. So that'll be able to catch Errol. And plus, Danny gonna have to place his shots because Errol is real good about catching shots, slipping shots, stuff like that, especially when you go to his head. So Danny definitely got to go to Errol's chest from his shoulders on down with his first punch, because you need to keep Errol like a heavy bag right in front of you so Danny can get his left hooks and other punches off, and to be able to slow Errol from coming through the door like the famous Teddy Atlas does. When you try to get on the windshield, you got to be able to wipe him off with a right hand and a hook. So you got to keep him at bay. So it's very important and vital that Danny Garcia does this. These are basic fundamentals that I'm going to be looking for to see if I'm satisfied with this performance tonight. Because lately, the performances from these so-called top fighters have been real shady. I have all kind of people running up to me saying, Guru, you wrong on your predictions and this and that, this and that. But these guys don't know jack about boxing, like the great Roger Mayweather said. May he rest in peace. His quote will live on forever. They don't know shit about boxing. Just because a fighter doesn't win, if I predict that, the reason why he didn't win is because he didn't follow the techniques of the art of boxing. That's why fighters lose, because they don't understand completely, and their trainer doesn't either. But Danny, he's been there, tasted defeat, and he has a major chance. But he had to work on his movement. He had to work on his punch selection, and he got to work on, speeding up his pace, because Errol Spence is a volume puncher. He throws a lot of punches. He put a lot of pressure on you. So Danny has to come back with good shots, and his work rate got to be up. So it's going to be interesting to see how this fight plays out. I know Errol going to give you what Errol gives you. Errol going to come out, establish himself. On the outside, Errol is... that's where, in my opinion, he lacks. If you can keep Errol standing straight up or keep him boxing on the outside, you got a better chance of beating him. But if you let Errol be able to come in, bull in when he wants to, pull out, keep you behind that stick of his, that jab, you in for a long night because Earl does have a 72 inch and a half reach. So that's very important for Earl's offense. So it's going to be very important that Danny going to have to man up, press the action. He going to have to be like Smoking Joe. He going to have to bring that pressure. He got to bring that Philadelphia pressure if he want to be victorious tonight in Dallas, Texas. So I'm looking and rooting just for it to be a big fight. But in my opinion, who's going to win, I will have to lean towards Errol the True Spence. I think Earl gonna fight Danny Garcia like he did Mikey. He gonna try to keep his length. He knows Danny's foot movement is kind of slow, so Earl should be able to touch him and get out of harm's way from the looping shots. Danny gonna be looping him, and Earl gonna be able to catch him with his arms up, block a lot of those shots, and counter Danny. So I'm looking for Earl to win a decision and to be smart. So this is first fight back, but I'm definitely knowing that it's gonna be a different Errol Spence. So I'm looking forward to the fight tonight. So I got Errol Spence winning a decision, maybe 8-4, maybe 7-5. Errol Spence decision. You with the one and only boxing guru. My thoughts hours before the big fight.